Alrighty, so overall our economy is in a healthy state. Our GDP, our inflation and everything, and our unemployment are all at a healthy rate. The only thing that has an issue is our debt. Something we need to do is balance the debt, and we have to find a way to do that. And because the debt right now is $22.03 trillion, and that's a big issue. But we'll get into balancing that later. First, we're going to do an introduction into the different parts of our economy, such as the GDP, inflation, the employment, things like that.
Gross domestic product. GDP is the dollar amount of all goods and services produced within the physical boundaries of the U.S. in 1 year. GDP includes goods, services, and structures. It includes products not made in the U.S. and secondhand sales, garage sales. The United States has a rate of 3.2%. This shows that the United States is a healthy rate of gross domestic product.
Inflation deals with the change in price due to the cost of credit. CPI is used to measure inflation by tracking monthly charges and the prices paid by urban consumers for a representative basket of goods and services. The national CPI rate is 0.3% and the national inflation rate is 2%. A healthy inflation rate is between 2 and 3%, so our current inflation rate just reached a healthy limit. Inflation can either hurt the retired or those with a fixed income because their money buys a little less each month. Those who are not on a fixed income are better off because they can get their wages to keep up with inflation.
So unemployment is people available and looking for work who worked less than an hour for pay in survey week. National unemployment rate is 3.6%, while in Michigan has a rate of 4.1%. Florida has a 3.5%, and California has a 4.3% unemployment rate. 5 types of unemployment are frictional, structural, seasonal, technological, cyclical. Frictional is described as people between jobs. Structural are changes in the economy, or when changes in the economy reduce the need for certain jobs as skills. Seasonal are changes in demand for jobs due to a change in season or weather. Technological is described as workers replaced by machines. And lastly, cyclical is due to changes in the business cycle like recession or inflation. We think that unemployment happens due to how stable the economy is in, or even because people are not eligible to work due to the season, injury, or even illness. Types of unemployment that are used would be seasonal, cyclical, or even frictional.
Blooper reel at the end.
Are we on yet?
Yeah, we're going.
Okay. There are 4 phases of the business cycle. The first phase is recovery. The recovery is when the economy is trying to get above the trend line. Another phase is expansion. Expansion is a period of uninterrupted growth of real GDP. Contraction is when the economy starts to fall again, and recession is the decline in real GDP lasting at least 2 quarters. During the expansion phase, employment rates increase, inflation increases, and GDP increases. However, in the recession phase of the business cycle, the employment rates decrease, inflation also decreases, and GDP decreases. Our economy right now is in the expansion phase. We determine this by looking at the unemployment rate, which is 3.6%, and the healthy rate is under 5%. Our GDP rate is 3.4%, the healthy rate is 3 to 4%. And finally, our inflation rate is 2%, and the healthy rate is 2 to 3%. All of our rates are reaching our healthy rates again, which in turn means that our economy is in the expansion phase of the business cycle.
Open market operations have few disadvantages, including a lack of well-developed securities market. Another drawback of the open market operations policy is that when large-scale securities affected by the central bank, the prices of securities adversely affect bank assets and upsets the government's borrowing program.
So disadvantages to fiscal policy, however, that using fiscal policy can lead to budget deficits. Also, some of the money gained could be used on tax imports, and that would lead to money going abroad instead of staying in our local economy. Also, an important issue is that raising taxes can be very unpopular, which can make fiscal policies politically dangerous to implement. Still better than monetary policy when it comes to it. I think it would help our government more with the debt.
Debt is the amount of money that the country has borrowed, and the deficit is the amount of spending the government does each year.
Monetary policy is the best way for our country to steady our spending and eventually catch up on our excessive amount of debt. Monetary policy consists of management of money supply and interest rates. It is aimed at achieving macroeconomic objectives such as controlling inflation, consumption, growth, and liquidity. These are achieved by actions such as modifying the interest rate, buying or selling government bonds, regulating foreign exchange rates, and changing the amount of money banks are required to maintain, such as reserves. The plan would be to keep our money valuable by limiting the amount of money each bank can save as a reserve and set aside all the extra money possible in a government account that we will eventually use towards the massive debt. And in this process, will prevent the debt from increasing any further. Monetary policy will be a big shift in our economy, but in the long run, it will improve our country a lot.
No, well, give me a paper.
You should memorize this.
It's my turn.
It's my turn.
Alright, well. Yeah. I'm running for, my belief is fiscal policy. It has to deal with the government increasing taxes when inflation is occurring to decrease the amount of money flowing through the economy. And when we decrease the taxes, it's going to end up.
You just said you were going to increase the taxes.
I said decrease.
You said increase.
Stop arguing with me. I'll just restart. Fine. Has to do. Okay, so fiscal policy has to deal with the government increasing taxes when inflation is occurring to decrease the amount of money flowing through the economy. Now, if we decrease the taxes when we are in a recession, it will allow us to have more money to flow through the economy. By using this, the government effectively can change the economy faster than monetary policy. So, as we can see, mine is a lot better in the short run.
But why not just
than
have
yours.
low taxes all the time? and
No,
just
because that's
lower
not how
it?
that works. It
You
will
talking
work
about
out
donuts.
better in the fast run. In the short run. You know what I mean?
The long run.
No, the short run. Yours will
Yes.
work. Yours will not work at all.
Mine will work better in the long run because you know what?
No.
After you get used
No.
to monetary policy, it's
No,
perfect.
because we'll never
Nick!
pay back the debt. We'll never pay back the
The
debt.
whole point is paying back the debt.
Yeah, but it won't work. that
You
way.
just
it
want-
won't work that way.
No, that's not how that works.
No, it
You
won't
just want
work.
to tax everyone and raise the amount of money everyone has to pay, and then when they like literally have nothing left, you're like, oh, lower the taxes just.
Right? Yeah.
Just to be
Because then we
nice.
gotta.
Why don't you have low taxes all the time?
Because we don't. That's not gonna pay back the debt fast enough.
You are using it to pay
People
back
are
the
gonna.
debt.
Yeah, we are.
You are.
Okay, I'm done.
He's giving us time.
Alright, so what is your position on this issue?
I would like to enforce monetary policy
Why?
because monetary policy is what the Fed is using right now, and it's working really well.
Yeah,
Is it?
but the fiscal policy is what was used during the Great Depression and after because it focuses on expansion. So that's going to help the economy more than monetary policy.
That's true, but it hasn't been used since then.
Yeah, but it got us out of a recession, so it
Right.
might do better than monetary policy.
Exactly.
You don't know that it might not.
I
Just 'cause
don't
we have-
know because it hasn't been used since the Great Depression. So
Right.
I'm just saying,
Right,
monetary
but-
policy is basically
But how-
based to help.
Yeah, but what happened in
Government debt and
2008?
reduce
What
government
happened in
spending.
2008? We were almost back in.
It's the
Okay, yeah, the housing situation.
Right.
But
So we could have used,
we use monetary policy.
but it put us into that situation.
That's not true.
Why is
It
it
was
not?
used after 2008 to get us
Then
out of that situation.
what was used in between the Great Depression and 2008?
I don't know.
I don't either. That's why I'm asking. Do you
I
guys know?
do not.
Well, no, I don't know, but we'll
It is what it is.
either way, fiscal policy could be better. What do you have against it that you?
Yeah, what is,
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's stupid to raise taxes just to pay off the government debt because if you were to keep taxes the same and actually just focus all the tax money on the government debt, it would be way more
but the
effective
thing
and
is,
make
we
people pay more.
can't use all the tax money.
I'm not saying you don't.
You just said that.
But
Though.
when
That
you
literally
did it-
came out of your mouth.
I said
Okay.
you focus.
I'm
the
using all the
taxes-
tax money.
So,
and
Sophie-
I listened to you.
It's not true.
And
Okay, you
I
just
was
want to raise
waiting for you to
taxes.
saying that. That's not what I want. I want to pay off this debt, and the only way is to do that is we can't
If we
take
keep
away
taxes
all
the
the
same
government
and we
spending.
just start actually focusing more of it towards the government debt, then it's not going to be such a big problem.
See, our generation
Sophie-
is the one that's gonna be paying for the debt in the next few years. So like, there's needed some solution because we're paying for it in the next few years.
The thing is, why are you so against it? Do you think we're going to immediately raise it a bunch?
Yeah, that's what you're sounding
No,
want to
no,
do.
no.
No, we're going to gradually raise it little by little, and we're not going to raise it a whole lot, just enough to
Okay,
cover some of
But
the
it's going
tax
to get
debt.
to a point where people just can't pay the taxes anymore. A lot
Well,
of people
keep
already
it-
can't pay the taxes, but they do because they have to.
So
it's
if
not
they
fair
can't
to
do
you.
it, how do they end up doing it
So
then?
it's not fair of you to keep raising the taxes when you know that there's going to be more and more people that
But
can't
wait.
pay it.
You just
But
said
not
that
even
they
just that.
can't.
How are we gonna get people to agree to raise the taxes and pay for them?
They're not going to agree. He wants to just
Exactly.
make them.
I'm not. I can't.
You're like,
make
oh,
it.
you don't have a choice.
Okay, earlier you said, how can you make, or some people can't pay for their taxes, but they still do it anyways. How does that work? If they can't pay for them, how do they do it in the first place? You just said some people right now can't
I'm not.
pay
I'm
for-
saying they have to cut down on spendings like housing, like cars, like education, and like food, things like that.
Okay.
So then people go broke. They don't have any money anymore.
Right, but who ends up paying for that if you cut down spendings? Does the
They
government?
go bankrupt and they don't pay because they have no money because you took it all.
She's got a point.
Alright.
I'm joking. Money runs out and they have nothing more to give.
That's called homeless people. I mean,
Yeah, that's why we have so many homeless people in America.
Okay.
but fiscal policy might help that because if we see too many homeless people, we can lower the taxes a little bit.
What are you talking about?
You
The
just
whole
said you
point
wanted
of
to
fiscal
raise
policy-
taxes.
Yeah.
The whole point of fiscal policy is raising the taxes. We're
Yeah,
just gonna
but
help homeless people.
Raising
Raising
it and
by-
lowering.
Raising.
Obviously, if it got us out
So,
of the Great Depression, then it
lowering-
will work right now.
Okay, that was the Great Depression. That was
Okay.
so long ago. Do you know
Well,
what?
we understand,
You
but
say,
if it
"Oh,
worked then,
It'll help.
it's gonna work now.
It'll help homeless people.
The point of
By
fiscal
making
policy
them
In the
pay
Great
more.
Depression, nobody had money. How did this work then?
they worked for it.
Right, exactly. All they had to do is work.
See what you're saying is people aren't working hard enough right now.
We have a lot of lazy people. In
There
here.
is. There's a lot of people that sit at home and play video games.
You
That's not my
gotta
fault.
admit,
I'm not saying
Yeah,
it is
it's
your
not
fault.
your
It's my
fault.
fault.
It's not.
You're
your fault
blaming it
either.
on me.
we're not saying it's anybody's fault besides that person's fault for not wanting to work.
That's true.
It's their fault.
So why is fiscal policy gonna help people stop being so lazy? It's just not gonna work.
They're gonna have to end up getting up and going to get a job to be able
Because
to pay
you're
for it.
taxing them more.
Right.
Exactly. So it's kind of a drive for them to work,
Or they just go homeless.
That's
and
the only
then
problem.
they starve.
That's their own problem.
It is.
If they're hungry, they'll get a job.
I'm not gonna film in this anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Hey!
we'll figure it out next time, everybody. See you next time.